Welcome to Rainbow Soul Vodcast, where our Soulstrology comes forward to help you manage your everyday life, with forecasts and deep dives on natal charts and queer perspectives on the planets, transits, and more. A group discussion about upcoming transits with tips on how to read these transits in your own chart. Hollis offers years of wisdom and natal chart knowledge with Bright Hawk's positive perspective and LeKross's inquiry. We offer the complete queer astrology experience. Welcome to Rainbow Soul. Please help us by subscribing, sharing, and commenting and reviewing. You can also learn where else Rainbow Soul is offered on our website at rainbowsoul.show.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh my goodness. Welcome everyone. Oh my goodness. So, welcome. I'm glad everyone's here. I'm glad you're tuning in. Welcome. It's definitely a good time to tune in today. And I'm Hollis Taylor. I'm one of your astrologers here today. And you can follow me. If you look in the description, you'll find a link to my website. I'm a professional astrologer, and I do all kinds of astrology readings. Yeah.
Hi there. I'm Bright Hawk. You can always learn more about me at brighthawkproductions.com. I'm an artist, an astrologer, an author, a musician, and always happy to be here and help put together the charts that we'll be looking at this week. Happy new moon to everyone. Happy birthday to the Capricorns in the group. And go ahead.
Hi, I'm LeKross Ortiz, creator of Fool's Journey Color Journal and also the podcast Master of None. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, and YouTube.
Fantastic. And I think you can see all the links in the description or in the comment, depending on, I guess, how you're looking at this. Well, I hope you had a great solstice and a great holiday, or at least the first part of the holiday. And now we got part 2 coming up. So I want to welcome everyone, and I want to give us a minute to have a little meditation. Let me just make sure Bright Hawk's music is working properly. If you have questions or anything like that, I'll be happy to answer your astrology questions just after this meditation and as we're going through. Okay. Where? Is that better? You can hear it fully, right, LeKross? Okay. I invite you all to take a deep breath. Sit with your bottoms in your seat. And imagine yourself underneath the night sky. With your feet on the ground. And as you're walking along, you can stop and look up at the stars. And up in the stars, you see the stars that seem to go on forever. And there is a constellation, and within it is a very bright, shining star. And as you look closer to this star, you realize that that star is actually a planet, the planet Venus. Bringing forth receptivity and openness, connection, love and romance, resources, and within the constellation, you come to realize that that constellation is Pisces. Venus in Pisces is at the highest vibration that Venus can be. Bringing through a great time and happiness and connections. And most of all, deep, unconditional love. Deep, unconditional love for the world, for those around you, and a love and a desire for peace. And as the constellation turns itself into the icon of Pisces with two fishes swimming after themselves, constantly adjusting and changing to the waters around them. Helping you to realize how love and connection changes you. The people that you are surrounded by shift your worldview, change your perspective. And as your focus pulls back from the beautiful goddess within the fishies swimming after each other, we come back down into our presence and turn that unconditional deep love to ourselves, offering an unconditional love to just the way we are. Offer a little unconditional love for yourself. Take a deep breath with your hand on your heart and feel that love in your mind that you can imagine trickle down into your heart, lighting your heart up with golden sparkles, filling it with joy and love. And we come back into our bodies in the here and now, with our bottoms on the seats, our feet on the floor, and I invite you to wiggle your toes and fingers and open your eyes and come back to the present and the here and now. Well, welcome. Thank you, Bright Hawk. Thank you so much.
Always a pleasure.
I appreciate you so much. And I will say that we are incapable of getting in the groups right now still because of Facebook somehow won't let me in there. So
that's annoying.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad Barbara found us and Angela and
hi, Barbara. And wait a minute. Hi, Barbara. Oh my gosh. To Barbara's. Welcome to the Barbaras. And hi, Angela. It's great to see you. Welcome, everyone. I'm glad you're here. Don't be afraid to ask questions of any kinds that you might have as we go through things. We will talk about the charts, and at the end, I will go through each zodiac sign and tell you how Venus and Pisces, where in your life it might, affect, where you might see it the most. And this isn't based on your actual astrology chart. This is how people do horoscopes, which, is fairly accurate. I would say that it becomes more accurate when I can look at your chart, but it is probably secondarily the next most accurate way to do predictions for groups of people like this. And we will start, though, with our charts now, which is just for the general public, and it could very much be it would very much be like people for everybody.
Right. So when I take the snapshots of the charts, one of the things I try to look for is what's happening in a significant moment. And if there is something like Venus going into Pisces, I try to take the snapshot of exactly when that happens, because it happens for all of us. And of course, you have to adjust for your time frame. We live in a mountain time zone, so guess what? It's centered around our time zone. And I try to always make sure if it's a significant void moon, which lately they've all been pretty significant. They've been big swaths of time. So hopefully that's made things easy. Things like Christmas Eve had a really big void of course moon. We had a void of course moon starting last night that finished this morning. So we'll see when we get into the charts what we have this week.
Yeah. So of course this is for the week. This is for this week, starting today, December 30th through January 5th. And I can see, first of all, the sun, we're deep in Capricorn energy is what I like to say. I think it's actually only been there a week though, but I can feel that we moved out of Sagittarian energy and more into Capricorn. Now,
of course, a very earthy vibe. Capricorn is fire. Sagittarius is fire. Capricorn is earth. So already you have a huge difference in those two. The other thing that, of course, happens is that Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and of course, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Saturn is often referred to as a malefic, and Jupiter is referred to as a benefic. And just from the sounds of it, you can tell that Jupiter makes things big and it tends to bring benefits. It tends to bring luck. Saturn, on the other side, is considered authority, cold, dad, structure, the system, all those kind of things. So when we move into Capricorn season, we're all responding or answering to Saturn energy. And so the thing that makes this chart interesting today, of course, is that we begin with a new moon. Now, most folks make their resolutions for the new year in the new year, but I have to say new moons are when you want to make intentions. New moons are fresh starts, fresh energy. And if you've been thinking about what your goals, desires, intentions, wishes, whatever it is that's true for you, well, today is a great day to do it. Today is a great day to honor your new moon ritual. Some astrologers like Anna Ortley, we highly respect, teacher, she'll say you have about a 2-day window. So absolutely want to encourage folks to be mindful of that it's a great time to be mindful of creating new habits, great habits, things that make you feel like, yes, I'm doing my life in a good way. We've been working on that. We've now gotten 9 days, 10 days of solid yoga, no stops.
Yeah, I think we're at like 10 days or something.
Yeah.
And most of the days have also worked out, and we've done meditation.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of streaks going on
great
right now.
Opportunity to do that. And Saturn in the end will reward you for doing those things, because you're doing, I heard a talk the other day. We've been listening to a lot of different talks, and he said, do the things for that your future self will look back and thank you for.
Yeah.
Thanks for eating well. Thanks for getting plenty of sleep. Thanks for doing the right thing. Thanks for all those things that you could imagine your future self looking back at your current self going, good job.
Yeah, I know my current self looks back at myself, 20 years ago, and I'm like, good job doing yoga. I'm so glad you started that. Good grief. I don't know where you would be today, but not here. So I'm always fairly grateful for the things that I've done. Also healthy eating, farm to table eating type, style. And so, yeah, so that's Capricorn season. I did start to notice that I was looking at the charts today, and because Mars is headed back to be in opposition to Pluto again, it's just a couple of degrees off today before it actually is opposite the Pluto at 1 degree. So, but I will say that is a little like, I'm a little like, oh man, mostly because my Saturn is there. Bright Hawk's moon is there. So it's a little like, okay, I don't know what's going to happen. But every time Mars passes over in the last few months since late summer, something happens. So,
and it doesn't always have to be a scary thing. Sometimes it's a great thing, like the Syrian war finally ending, right?
Yep.
Mars retrograde is meant to set things straight, meant to slow everybody down and say, you have to be careful during a Mars retrograde. We've talked about that before, how you don't want things to boomerang. So you always want to be taking the high road, don't you always? And if you do, and someone attacks you, it's probably going to backfire on them.
Yeah, I wouldn't take any action as far as like attacking anyone else or taking legal action. Wait till it's over. And so that will be in a while. It'll be in the spring is when it's truly over. But when it's across from Pluto like that, Pluto in Aquarius just makes me think a little bit about, all kinds of things from AI to medicine to technology and all of those kinds of things. So as it moves closer, just be aware, especially if you are a Leo or an Aquarius, or probably Aries placement as well would probably, and Scorpio placements probably would need to be aware of that. Okay. And
question.
Go ahead.
Question. Now, I know we talked about the void moon and how it's not as strong. How would that affect like the new moon? Because the new moon is for where are your intentions going to be just equally as strong, even though it's in a void, of course?
Good question. So many who really follow the void of course moons would say, don't do your intention setting during the void. Do it right when it finishes the void, anytime after the void, because that's when it's truly in Capricorn and you have that time and opportunity to set your intention in a powerful way. Doing things in a void, I'm glad you brought it up. If you're listening to us for the first time, and what is this term, void of course moon? I don't know what you're talking about. It's that void moment. The moon changes signs every 2.5 days. And of course, going from one sign to the next sign is changing elements, changing, is it fixed, mutable, or cardinal? Is it water, air, earth, fire? Is it, those flavors alone right there? Boom, it's big change. So there's this moment of void, this moment of putting down one element, like I described Sagittarius, putting down the fire and going into Capricorn, getting grounded into the earth, right? So there's a void moment. And it's when it's said that there's no Ptolemaic aspects. You'll notice that this new moon, there are no aspects. The moon has no aspects on the new moon. So this void is already over. It was this morning. So now going forward would be the time while the moon is in Capricorn to pay attention to what intentions you want to set for this. And you can do it for this moon period and for the year or for the season, whatever's right for you. But this is absolutely the potent time to do it after the void. Because when the moon is void is when the moon does not have a lot of energy. I would say it has no energy. So we say it's the no drama time. It's the self-care time. It's the don't initiate stuff. Don't try to take action on things. Know that this is a chill time.
Mm-hmm.
So great question.
And remember, the void moon ends at 4:30 in the morning, which would have been 6:30 this morning in your time.
Yeah. It started like midnight or something last night. And then the other thing that I'm going to point out that looks fairly obvious, if you look, you see, wow, there's a really big mystic rectangle. And because it involves Mars, Neptune, Pluto, and the nodes, none of those move very quickly. So this mystic rectangle lasts all week. What does it mean, Hollis?
Well, mystic rectangles are usually things that come together easily that are destined to happen, usually in a mystical way, usually for spiritual reasons or sometimes I feel that when mystic rectangles come together, things happen for reasons we don't understand. So that's an interesting thing. But the mystic rectangle is it also depends on what planets and stuff that are involved in it. Now, the mystic rectangle is having a lot to do with Mars in retrograde, Pluto in Aquarius, and the North nodes, including Neptune in Pisces, which is finishing its transit in Pisces. So I feel like this is about the illusions that may come down. Like people may start realizing that they were under an illusion, or they might start awakening to something, awakening to a deeper spiritual faith. I was just talking about it today. Somebody was saying, well, I feel like the whole world is having a spiritual awakening. And that's because, and that's part of the age of Aquarius. Yes. But it also has to do with like Neptune in Pisces, Saturn in Pisces. Those kinds of things help like kind of awaken people to their spiritual path. So if you're finding yourself on a spiritual path, know that that's also part of this journey. That's probably a lot of what that mystic rectangle has to do with. It will probably help you decide what relationships are good and which ones are not, and what to do on your own and what to collaborate with others. At the same time, Jupiter is in a T-square to Saturn, and so is Mercury. So actually, Jupiter and Mercury are opposite of each other. And I feel like that has a lot to do with like people saying things that might not be true, saying things that are kind of half-truths or just not the whole truth. And that in particular having something to do with our system or the way we see things. So be careful. And I think Nadia Shaw mentioned that it could be like the media. I can see how she could come to that conclusion. So the media, like especially being out there and broadcasting things, Gemini tends to have that energy, and Sagittarius can have that energy too, and particularly Mercury being the ruler of Gemini, and Jupiter being the ruler of Sag. The Mercury and Jupiter can switch places here. They're in what we call mutual reception. I talked about it last week. It's kind of like places where they can just kind of, which is going to give us some interesting philosophies. But I feel that those philosophies could just be philosophies or theories, and not every theory is accurate. And sometimes people come up with theories based on evidence that is not true. So especially with Jupiter retrograde, I would be questioning that. So anything you hear on the news, or maybe she was saying with celebrities, I don't really watch celebrity stuff. I'm not really into celebrities. But if you are, probably don't want to believe too much of that. But also other things on the news, you might want to question what you're listening to. And with Venus being in a square to Uranus to kick the week off, I feel like that might feel like you're kind of on a bumpy ride to get on your path. Like, okay, like you're not quite there yet. You think you might do this or might do that. And it's always interesting to me that we make New Year's commitments usually to like lose weight or eat healthy or stop smoking or what the hell ever. And it's hilarious because actually Capricornian energy is more disciplined than Sagittarian energy. So it kind of makes sense. I think it has a lot to do with the way the sun moves in. I think we are focused on New Year's by the time we get to Christmas. So most people don't really realize that, but they're all ready for New Year's when Christmas gets here. They're kind of like, okay, let's get this Christmas thing over so we can do New Year's. Okay. So that's this week, Monday. I do feel like there's a pool. There's something under the surface that you could feel that's going on, maybe in your personal life, maybe in your relationships, or particularly out in the wild, out in our culture, right? Out in the wild. I don't know what else you want to say, politics and things like that, stuff you see on the news. Now this is Wednesday, and of course this is New Year's Day. So, New Year's Day still has that mystic rectangle. Venus hasn't quite moved into Aquarius. Venus hasn't quite moved into Pisces yet. So I'm almost feeling like New Year's Eve parties might be a little bit, I don't know. They could be a little bit emotional. I'd be careful about what I did, particularly because Pluto and the moon are conjunct and they're opposite Mars, and Mars is retrograde. So I just feel like
I took
relationships, emotions.
I just want to point out that I took this snapshot when Pluto and the moon were conjunct. So this is at 6 a.m. on January 1st. So adjust for your time zone. But it just felt like, wow, that really lights up that mystic rectangle as the moon joins the party.
And the moon probably would have been in the evening, just on the edge of Capricorn, huh?
Yeah, it changed when it, 12 hours later, it'll be almost 12 degrees later. So, of course, the moon moves almost a degree. An hour.
So it was probably in Capricorn, maybe even at the beginning of your party, may have even been conjunct the sun, which just makes me feel like sometimes when the sun and the moon are together, there has something to do with emotional intention and emotional going forward. And so what I would say about your New Year's is it may not have the greatest party feel. You might be pushed. You might have to reach for that party feel. And I can totally see that happening to like the GLBTQ community, because most of us are like, oh my God, what is going to happen in 25? Like, we aren't all about the party right now. A lot of us are very concerned and very worried. And so anyone that's on that side of the political thing could feel that. And then some people are experiencing not so much of that party energy, really. But the funny thing is I think it's just going to arrive late, which could be okay, actually, because I don't know. Sometimes party energy on New Year's almost feels like, I don't know if we want to do that, you guys. That's like the moments where you're like, this is too much, right?
This is what I always say, the potential for forced fun. Okay, it's this time, you got to get happy, and this is what we're doing. It's like, whoa, man, I'm just not into this right now. It's okay. Take good care of yourself. Now,
So if you're not
in
feeling
the
it,
morning on the 1st, there's a void moon from 6 a.m. to 10:50 Mountain Time. So East Coaster 8 a.m. to just past noon, right? Almost 1 a.m.
So at least there won't be
PM.
much drama from the night before.
Yeah. So right. Hopefully nobody's nursing a hangover. I think those days are over. But it should be chill. It could be a chill, low drama, not a big, not a lot of energy kind of thing. So again, if you spent your morning doing healthy self-care for you, that would be well advised.
Yeah, self-care is a great thing to do during a void moon. And as we go on to the next day,
this is the drum roll, please.
Which is when Venus enters Pisces. So actually, this is the day that you're going to feel, and look, and Venus is even, at the tip of a yod there. Yeah, pulling from Mars in the South Node. So Venus is incredibly exalted there. Exalted means that Venus is like really, really at its highest vibration. So yeah, Venus rules Libra and Taurus those are its home, but when it's in Pisces, it's ready to have a good time. This is when people are wanting to connect. This is when lovers feel like coming together. This is when you feel huge unconditional love for yourself. Maybe you've started some healthy habits or something like that since New Year's Day, and you're starting it on Thursday, the 2nd. Either way, Venus in Pisces is actually a really great movement, and we're probably gonna feel it. It could have something to do. There could be some beautiful things that happen. Maybe another war ends. Okay, maybe someone else stops getting bullied or beat up on, or maybe there's some other type of resolution that happens. But because Venus is moving into Pisces, I'd say that that's a pretty excellent day for relationships and for connections and for resources and money. That's actually a good day to do anything related to money if you're doing something like that. Okay, so if there's something that you have to do, maybe you're trying to get more money at your work or asking for more money at your job or something like that, Thursday would actually be the day you want to do it. Now, at the end, I'll go through each zodiac sign and let you know where Venus will be on this day, on Thursday. And Friday, look at that, the moon is conjunct. The moon is conjunct Venus.
Yeah, that's why I took that
that's big emotions.
I was like, wow, look at how exactly. It feels like it's big emotion. There's just big conversations could be happening. I
wouldn't be surprised if it was with somebody in your past.
I know. I was just going to say, with the nodes involved, it seems like, and holidays often connect us with people from our past.
Yeah.
But you might be meeting new people as well. And with the nodes, the North Node, that definitely points to that in Aries. The nodes are almost ready to change signs, by the way.
Mm-hmm. And with Mars coming into directly 0 degrees there, it makes me feel like that's really about ending something. It could even be like maybe you've been arguing with someone in the past and now you're not anymore. So if there's something like that, maybe there'll be some sort of reconciliation or some sort of beautiful ending to something from the past that maybe wasn't so great. Maybe a disagreement or something like that would come into peace, because Venus in Pisces really loves peace. Venus wants to bring peace when it's in Pisces. Okay.
And you've got that emotional watery moon.
And it looks like the void moon is
oh, and there's a yod. I almost forgot. There's also another yod with Mars and the South Node at
pointing
the base,
at Venus,
pointing at the moon and Venus. That was the other reason why I took this particular moment in time, because that's pretty potent as well. It really points to a lot of emotional relationship charged energy that can hopefully be translated in a good way. For the greatest good.
Probably would be. Just because Mars is retrograde, Venus is in Pisces. That's all conducive to peace and a good ending to things. And with the void moon from 4 a.m. to 3:20, I would say that if you have to give yourself love, really working on that Thursday and Friday would be really good for you.
Yeah. So that's the other thing about that void, is that can be a great time to use that to have relationship conversations with people who might be difficult. So when there's a void moon and there's no emotional energy, this is a great time to take advantage of that kind of thing. Not suggesting to be manipulative. I'm suggesting to be aware that this is how we understand the void moon. Always curious about how it works for folks.
Yeah.
But boy, Friday is a really, really long void. In the East, it won't finish until 5:20, right before dinner time. And then notice, does dinner time get more exciting because now all of a sudden the void is ended? I notice that sometimes, especially when it's been all day. And then all of a sudden you sort of feel it come back on. And, it's like, oh, that's what you're talking about. So I'll be curious if you notice, please put something in the comments and say, yeah, I've noticed this. This is really cool.
All right. And then Saturday, of course, all of that yacht and stuff starts to fall to the side. The moon moves on. Venus starts moving out of the conversation with the South Node and Mars. But that mystic rectangle is holding steady. And I did notice that the Sun and Saturn are sextile. So that's actually a really great conversation, especially in regards to the system and rebuilding things. So
yeah, because the moon is conjunct. So there should be I
just feel like that's a good time to rebuild things. So we could start seeing things change. Of course we will, because it's January 4th and that's going to start coming in anyway. So, okay. And as we go on to Sunday,
so Sunday, what's cool is that, again, we have a big void moon for most of the afternoon into the evening. So I'd be, again, very curious, as the moon begins to enter Aries, what do you notice? And of course, it's gone from, the moon this week has gone from conjuncting Venus to conjuncting Saturn to conjuncting Neptune. So that conversation of Venus is relationships, values, Saturn is structure, authority, Neptune is dreams and visions. So when you put all that together this week and you're setting your intentions for the year or the month, what does that add up to you for you? And you've got Chiron right there with this. Well, they're not really. Never mind. That's 19 degrees.
I will say that a vision from the past could come into our conversation at this time, particularly with the South Node, particularly related to relationships, and versus being independent, with that T-square pointing at Mercury. It is just enough to make us maybe talk about something from the past or talk about some sort of emotional experience from the past. So if you find yourself talking about something on Sunday, or having a verbal disagreement, it could be that way.
And you'd want to get those conversations in, because on January 6th, Mars moves out of fiery Leo and backwards into watery Cancer.
Right on top of my Saturn.
So that, I always think you go from a fire sign. Mars is, of course, the ruler of Aries and the god of fire, of war. Sorry. So I just always see steam. So that's Monday. I didn't put this slide in but
that'll be next week.
I was like, January 6th, something happens astrologically on January 6th. its Mars slips back into Cancer.
Hmm.
So those of you who are Cancer, you just might feel Mars coming back.
Yeah, and because Cancer rules the moon, it just makes me feel like that fiery energy.
Yeah, and Mars doesn't like being in watery Cancer, BTW. It's not generally very happy there. It's kind of moist,
So Barbara asked a really great question. She said that I'm a 17 and a half hours ahead in Australia. It's hard to work out how to adjust this. Should I just do it a full day ahead?
Okay, so that's a great question. Now, there's a wonderful app, a website that's called Moon Calendar Void, and you can put in your time and location, and it will give it to you for you locally. Moon Calendar Void, I think is the name of it, through Astro. Oh, I'm not going to get it right. If I remember later, I'll try to put a comment in there. But that's what I have been doing, and they give it to you locally.
Okay. Okay, Barbara said great. Thank you. I'll look that up. You're welcome, Barbara. We'll try to, if Bright Hawk finds the link, you can come back to this and then just comment on it and reply back to it.
Yeah. I found it's really, really helpful that they have, put in the stuff so you can make it very easy to get for you.
Mm-hmm. All right, now let me try to do a horoscope for everyone for this week for Venus moving into Pisces. Now, what I want to say is that when I am talking about a particular transit, when I'm talking about a particular sign, like I'm going to start with Aries, I'm going to go in order: Aries, Taurus, Gemini. So when I go to, it could be for your sun sign or your rising sign, and possibly your moon sign. If it's in your moon sign, it's probably going to affect your emotions more. So you may or may not notice it depending on how emotionally in touch you are with yourself. And then, of course, your sun sign, it will affect those sun signs that way. And I find that the older you are, the more stronger your rising sign is, especially once you get over 30. Okay, so I'll be talking about Venus in Pisces for all of the signs. And so this first one is Venus in Pisces, will be in the 12th house. So that's really, the 12th house is, you don't always see that. Other people might see it, but.
So this is for Aries.
Yeah, this is for Aries. And for Aries, Venus in Pisces is going to be emotional, but it's going to be a good, loving, unconditional love type of thing. But the thing is that for Aries, you're probably not going to notice it. If you do, someone else will point it out to you. Someone else will point it out to you. Maybe your children will point it out. Maybe someone in your day-to-day life might point it out to you. So there will be a point about relationships in particular, regarding unconditional love or deep love and peace in love, things like that, or finding peace with love, but someone else will mention it to you Thursday, Friday of this week, and you'll probably notice it come in, and it will be quite important, but someone else will mention it to you. Someone else will point it out to you somehow. You won't necessarily notice it for yourself there, Aries. And that's just because it's in the 12th house. It just means that there could be some invisibility. It could have something to do with institutions like hospitals or long-term care facilities of some sort, or it could have something to do also with like psychic things or psychic feelings or energetic feelings, especially because Pisces is involved, and it is in the 12th house, and the 12th house does tend to be a bit of a psychic house, but people don't always notice it until they don't develop their 12th house stuff until they're much older. And so I'm just going to say that it could have something to do with something that's hidden from you being revealed, being pointed out by somebody else, possibly a child or someone that you're creative with. And then as we move on to Taurus, what I want to say about Taurus is, okay, so this is for people with a Taurus sun or a Taurus moon, how this works.
Taurus rising.
Yeah, sorry, Taurus rising. So this is really going to be about Pisces in your 11th house. So this is really going to be about deep unconditional love or making peace with someone that is your friend or someone that has power over you, particularly in relation to your home or your home of origin, particularly also in relationships in your day-to-day life. Yes, it absolutely could have something to do with your mother. Absolutely. It could also have something to do with men and women, that sort of dynamic of men and women, particularly because it's definitely about relationships. And for Taurus, Venus is your ruling planet. So you always feel things that happen to Venus. You feel Venus as it goes all the way around the chart for you. You feel Venus in your heart and soul. And so you can tell when Venus is exalted in Pisces, you're going to feel that unconditional love. You're going to feel that peace. You're going to feel something come into fruition for Taurus. Okay. And so that's for Taurus sun, Taurus rising, Taurus moon. Now, also Taurus, it could have something to do with people that you work with, like coworkers, but it's most likely friends or particularly people that have power over you. Okay. Now for Gemini, this is for Gemini sun, Gemini rising, Gemini moon. Now for Gemini, I want you to notice what's happening at work, because I wouldn't be surprised if you got more money somehow, or somehow you got some sort of raise, or somehow more resources are coming to you, particularly in relation to maybe people that are around you. Maybe it has something to do with where you're working, or somehow resources will increase for Gemini, and including with relationships. Maybe relationships get better. Maybe you actually have peace with some relationship with someone you work with. Okay. Something about work, possibly your boss, and something about your relationship with work, Gemini. You're really going to feel your connection with work. And that is really where Venus is going to land and bless you with some extra resources, maybe even some party-like energy. You could really feel like things are really feeling good and in the up and up as far as work goes. And that could really feel good to you for the Gemini. That's for Gemini sun, Gemini rising, Gemini moon. You might just have a simple peace in your relationship, which in itself, if you work there every day, I have been in those situations. That's a gift all in itself, right? All right. So for Cancer sun, Cancer rising, and Cancer moon, definitely notice this. You are gonna feel the love. I'm just gonna say, Cancer, you can't miss this. Moon is going to be traveling with Venus, your ruling planet, and it is going to be powerful for you. Cancer sun, Cancer rising, you're going to feel that deep, unconditional love, probably not just for someone in your life, but likely for the divine, or for higher learning, or a desire to get to higher learning, or to expand your mind. And that's one of Cancer's favorite things to do, actually. Cancer loves to learn. So you're going to find a deep love for learning, some sort of unconditional. You're going to be some sort of resource and emotional connection is going to come to you. It could be with relationships, but it would most likely be in relationships that have to do with values or money, and possibly particularly with relationships from your past. So it could be like from your family of origin, right? Okay, so from your family of origin particularly, there could be something about higher learning or raising your vibration or getting connected to the divine, Cancer. You're really going to feel this. This is really powerful for you because the moon is your ruling planet. Venus is exalted in the 9th house. It's really going to be strong for you. Okay, you're really going to feel this uplifting, inspiring, and generally a really great feeling on Thursday, Friday. It's going to feel really good for you. I'm excited for Cancer, Sun, Cancer rising. I'm excited for you because I know this is going to be really good for you. Now, next one is for Leo. That would be Leo rising, Leo sun, or Leo moon. So Leo moon, what I want to say to you is that this Venus is going to be in your shadow. It's going to be in the 8th house. It could have something to do with other people's money. It could definitely have to do with like emotional ties to other people's money, particularly feeling like maybe there's something that you hadn't quite really considered, particularly with people in your that you're surrounded by and your relationships you're surrounded by, but you're really going to be having a deep peace and awareness, particularly with your shadow, probably other people's money as well, and maybe even feeling through death, and things like that. Like you're really going to feel an uplifting feeling. You're really going to experience some healing in this time. This is really a time for healing for you, particularly in the 8th house with things like the occult or spiritual practices, not just spiritual practices, but in particular like psychic practices or things that have to do with like witchcraft and things like that, or astrology, or other things that would be 8th house oriented, which are usually things we don't talk about, taboo topics. Okay, but these kinds of things are really where you're going to experience the healing, Leo. You're really going to feel it inside. You're going to feel like there's true healing happening inside your heart. Things are going to come around right for you. You're going to start receiving the good things. Maybe if someone owes you money or money is owed to you, it would be paid. Or maybe you will do something with someone else's money maybe it's an inheritance or something like that. Anything like that, Thursday, Friday, that's really what's going to be coming into your mind at this time for Leo. You're really going to experience some sort of things with other people's money and maybe even death. So those two things would probably be sort of involved in this experience on Thursday and Friday. So now as we move on to Virgo, what I would say about Virgos, this is for Virgo sun, Virgo rising, and Virgo moon. Okay, so for Virgos, what I want to say is that Venus is going to be in the 7th, 6th house. So it's probably going to have a lot to do with relationships. Okay, in particular, relationships, and you might even be considering about money and relationships, but this is going to be a good thing. There could be some discipline or something like that comes through that really helps you understand that this is good for you. This is not hard discipline. This is like, let me help you with that. This is good unconditional love. This is exaltation, Pisces exalted. It's going to help you feel peace in relationship. It's going to help you feel peace about what's happening. It's really going to help you feel connected to your relationships, helping you to feel like, Virgo, that there's actually something going right, that there are things going right, particularly in relation to money. Okay. Or your values, but most likely money, okay? Because Venus represents money, and so does the 2nd house, and that's where the South Node is. It could have to do with money that is in the past, money that's already spent, or or will or was gotten somehow or was earned in the past. Maybe you're doing something with it, investing it or something, but this will be done in relationship with someone else. And I think that will be feeling good for Virgos. That will be really feeling good in their heart, because it will be in good unconditional love. That unconditional love will just be vibrating in your relationships in particular. Maybe you and your spouse like come up with a great financial plan or something. Okay. Like something like that. So Virgos, that could really help Virgo feel really strong and connected. And then as we move to Libra, Libra, that would have a lot to do with, so this is for Libra Sun, Libra Rising, and Libra Moon. Okay, so this is for you, Libra. And for Libra, you're really going to notice something with your kids. Okay, particularly with your children, because I feel like there's going to be some sort of unconditional love in regards to your children, particularly maybe something from the past that you're not even thinking about in the moment, but maybe it has to do with your career or something that has to do something with your career. Maybe you've gotten some more time off, or you've been able to spend some quality time with your kids, and maybe it was over the holiday and you're really going to feel that unconditional love. Maybe your kids are going to give you gratitude for the gifts you got. Who knows? But there will be some sort of blessing. It could also be, if you don't have kids, it would probably be more in relation to like creative energies or your creative manifestations or romantic energy. So any of those kinds of things, you'll definitely feel connected on that side. Okay, Libra? And you'll definitely be feeling like maybe there's some stuff in the past that you can put behind you, and you'll be feeling that unconditional love and that connection going forward. And Libra, you are Venus is in its rulership for you, so you will also feel this really heavily. You will feel this really intensely and deeply in a really special way, and it will probably be in relation to your relationships, probably children or romantic partners in particular. And that's be the main focus for you. And now we have Scorpio. We're almost through all the zodiac. And for Scorpio, you're going to be feeling this in relation to your home, possibly your family of origin or your home. So that means you're going to be feeling love and unconditional love for where you are at home or where you call home. Those kinds of things are going to be really strong from you right now. They're going to be calling from the people that have power over you or people that feel like they're in authority or friends, as well as spiritual energies are going to be pushing on you to help you feel really in love with your home, really intact with your home and connected to your home and feeling deep unconditional love for home. And it could have something to do with like your parents or unconditional love in relation to, people that have to do with your with your home of origin, wherever you grew up. That's what I mean by that. And so now this next one is for Sagittarius. So this would be for Sagittarius Sun, Sagittarius Rising, and a Sagittarius Moon. And Venus is going to be in your third house of communication. So there could be some very strong communication that comes through for you, particularly in related to maybe other people's money or taboo topics and work. Maybe some sort of communication thing could end, and there could be just, discourse or whatever could come to an end for you. Or there could be some sort of also with neighbors. So like you could be having better relations with your neighbors or better communication with your neighbors, or people that live directly with you. So your local community. And you will be feeling deeply connected to that with Venus in Pisces there. You will feel deeply connected and grateful and have that really big love that we've been talking about with Pisces, with Venus in Pisces. And then when we get to Capricorn, my Capricorn friends, Happy birthday. It's probably your birthday. So don't be surprised if you actually get something that you value, my friends, my Capricorn friends, because it's funny because, you know, it's also probably your birthday. So some gifts or things that you value could definitely come your way, particularly definitely from relationships, maybe from like if you went to college or anything in higher learning, maybe people you know from there and other people that you're in relationship with, people that care about you and people that want to lift you up. They're going to be giving you things that are particularly special to you. So scrape it in, my friend. It is your time and it's going to be good. They're going to mean a lot to you. These gifts are going to mean, they're going to really warm your heart. It's really going to feel good, whatever gifts or things that come in here Thursday, Friday, you're really going to feel that. You're really going to feel that connection to others. You're really going to feel like they've seen you, heard you. And for Capricorn, that's pretty unusual to feel that, but you will feel it on your own, in your own way, in your own in your own expression. Now for Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising, Venus is really going to be in your house of your body. So I'm just going to say, pay attention to your body because you may find that you truly are grateful and deeply in love with your body, with your physical body and your identity. And in fact, that identity could make you more aware of that. And you'd probably feel that on Friday, Saturday, and you'll really feel that Pisces, that Venus in Pisces, that deep unconditional love for Aquarius. You're really going to feel that right in your body, right in your identity. You could even decide to go get like a new hairdo or a new outfit or new clothes or whatever it is. Go do it. It's your time this weekend, January 4th, 3rd, 4th, 5th. Go get yourself some new clothes or get your hair done or whatever it is you want to do, Aquarius, because now's the time. Yes, do it. It will be good for you for certain. And then as we move into Pisces, our last one, Pisces, what I want to say to you is that you may notice that this energy is really pulling you forward with Venus in your sign. Venus is exalted in your sign. So Venus, it really wants to pull you forward and really wants to project you going forward, really wants to, especially for early degrees Pisces. So if you look at your sun on your chart and you're a Pisces, look at what number it is. If it's in the first 10 numbers, I would say you're going to feel this right away. You're going to feel like Venus just gave you a gift and Venus is just going to give you huge gift, whether it be in your heart or in your love. And maybe it's a little bit of everything. Maybe it's a good time. Maybe it's a loving partner. Maybe it's also other gifts like just feeling free and in love and being able to laugh and have a good time, which is priceless for Pisces. Pisces loves that. So I just want to let you know that the gift is on its way. It's coming towards you. Be ready for it. This weekend, Friday, Saturday, you're really going to feel that particularly strong if you have the first like 10 degrees in Pisces. So you just look next to your sun and it will have a number next to it. Have two numbers. One number has like two little lines and that's the degrees. And then the minutes is, or no, one number has a little circle. And it doesn't always have a circle, does it? See? Yeah, it does. Okay. This one does. See? And then the other number has a little line. Those are seconds. But the one with the degrees sign, that's the degrees. And that's what I'm talking about. Okay.
Woo!
That's a busy. Be a lot of relationships.
Well, Venus, rules relationships. So, and the South Node is in Libra. So that's also rules relationships. So, yeah. So, LeKross, did you want to mention anything about the animals?
Well, it's funny because we're in now the season of the geese, and geese are known for relationships. They are all about relationships with family, relationships with each other, social relationships. And I I think it's interesting because they're so overprotected. And we were also talking about the void, of course, moon. And I think it's being very overprotective of our own relationships. We should protect that. Our relationships with ourselves, the self-care, our relationship with our loved ones or whatever. I said, but I think this is a time where we have to really, take it in and protect it and nurture it and care for everything. So it's neat how it coincides with this week, because this week seems like it's all about all these different relationships. And that's what the geese represent, all the different kinds of relationships that we are in. So
Interesting. Yeah, I guess geese always fly together, huh?
yeah, they fly in the V formation. Actually, there could be like thousands of them.
Yeah. And they're all talking and
Yep.
encouraging and your turn and I'll drop back and my turn.
Yeah, you usually hear them coming.
Yeah.
Very, it's I've always marveled at the way they work together.
Yeah. And it's interesting how this is how they do this overprotection and caring for each other, because if it gets too hard for them, they fly in a V because it's less work. So if one falls behind, one of them will come in the back and help kind of like take the weight so that they don't, and push them forward so that they don't have to like exhaust themselves to that point, because they'll fly for thousands of miles.
Right.
So
yeah, and I was just thinking geese are like, I don't know if you've ever had this experience, but we used to go to a farm that had a goose on it and she would lay her eggs under the porch. And if you drove up and parked, in the little parking area, she would come over and try to bully my son. He was little, but she would come over and like
Hurt him.
Yeah, she was like, stay away from my egg. I guess she was protecting her egg. She was worse when she had laid an egg.
Yeah. My son had the biggest problem. He has an outdoor pool at his hotel. And there's these geese and they all go to the pool, and every morning he has to chase them out.
No.
Because they just go in there and they just hang out in the pool. And he's trying to save them because the chemicals that are in the pool are really, really bad for them.
Oh my.
So,
Gosh.
Oh my God. The other thing it reminds me of is how I'm sure cycling, the peloton and the way they race is all based on the way, if you watch geese, because they understand that, the front person can only hold that for so long, and then you got to drop back, and then the next person takes a turn. And to me, that the efficiency of nature and the way they protect each other, take care of each other, it's fascinating. And, it's a great example of the saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Yeah.
It's a great example of that.
Yeah.
I love that you brought that in. Thank you.
Yeah, I love geese. They're pretty cool. All
What about
right.
the cards? Have we got a reading for today?
Yeah, so I pulled 3 cards for you all. And the first card, this is from the Pride deck. This is the Love is Love deck. It's a Pride deck that each single card is done by a different LGBTQ artist. So this is the Page of Wands. And the Page of Wands is, this is a reminder of that you're fresh on your spiritual path. You just stepped on. Don't get ahead of yourself. You just got started. And this is particular for those that have just awakened. This is really about the path that you just stepped on, that you just got through. And all I can think of right now is Shauna. Where is Shauna? Oh my goodness. I'm going to have to send this to her. Anyway, so this is about you just stepped on your path. You just got there. Give yourself a break. So this is also about the fresh awakening that you've just had, okay? And then going forward, this is about you have a choice right now. You have a choice to make. And this choice could be simple as making the best of things. I was just talking to someone today that we have a choice of how we feel about things, how we choose to see anniversaries of when people die and things like that. We have a choice. Yeah, you can spend a lot of time in grief on that, or you could make a different choice. And I choose to honor them, and to honor their lives, because that's how I do things. But this is the Chariot card, and this is very much about travel and choice. So what choices have you had to make in order to make the best of things, especially as Venus is blessing you, right? Because going forward, it's probably not always going to be great. So be careful of the things that you'll might have to recover, and the intentions that you set, because this will be about the intentions that you set, and maybe even not having the greatest of intentions. Be careful with your intentions, and be careful how you go forward those intentions to be sure that you're doing the right thing. So again, what I'm saying is that your spiritual path has just begun. Don't give up on it. You just started. You're fresh on your path, and that's what this is about. To keep going on your path. And as you're going forward, make sure that there's always a choice about what you do. Make sure you know that there's always a choice. It's always a choice. It is a choice every day when we wake up. It is a choice every day what we choose to do with the day, how we see the day, and how we face the day. And that is a personal choice. And it also has a lot to do with travel, the Chariot as well. And then also for the future, be aware of your intentions and what your intentions are meant to do, and what do you plan to do with those intentions. And that's really what this card is about. It has a lot to do with intentions that could be in retribution for something. I wouldn't do that. And don't do that now. We just mentioned during the broadcast, never try to get retribution while Mars is retrograde, right? Okay, so don't do it. Because it'll probably boomerang back at you. Okay?
Yeah, that wouldn't be a good thing.
Not right now. Yeah, not right now. Usually two wrongs don't make a right anyway, and eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. It doesn't usually go well anyway, but just saying.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that helps you navigate an awesome week, and you feel the blessings of Venus, and you understand how to take advantage of the void of course moons. And hopefully you have a great week. And thanks so much for listening. We really appreciate you and hope that this is helpful for you.
All right.
Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and help promote, push it forward. If it helps you, that'd be great. And thank you for watching Rainbow Soul Soulstrology, where we try to be a bridge between you and the stars. See you next time.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to this week's Soulstrology and subscribing, liking, sharing, and reviewing. We hope you enjoy this dose of Soulstrology and encourage you to embrace the week ahead with an open mind and heart so that you may integrate the deepest of lessons from the stars. Take a moment to step outside and honor the planet, stars, and moon in the sky with your heart. Integrate the messages that resonate and leave the rest for someone else. We deeply appreciate each and every one of you. Always remember that you are a perfectly unique human with an exclusive star map of your destiny, your soul purpose, and your heart's desire. Thank you again for tuning in to Rainbow Soul.